Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. It is Wednesday, March 16th, 2011. And we're here in Matthew chapter 10. Jesus is continuing to give instructions to his apostles as they go on their trip, their little mission trip. Now, the next set of instructions have to do with the judgment coming in AD 70. Remember, I've been saying that all along. And so we'll see that as we go to verse 21. Sorry for the pause. Brother will deliver brother over to death, and the father his child, and children will rise against parents and have them put to death, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. When they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. For truly I say to you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. It is enough for the disciple to be like his teacher, and the servant like his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more will they malign those of his household? Now, Beelzebul, another word for Satan, or the prince of demons, or something like that. He's saying, look, you guys, you're going to be preaching, and you're going to be going primarily to the Jews. Now you will be going some to the Gentiles, and we looked at that yesterday. But you're trying to get to all the towns of Israel before this judgment comes. And he says before the Son of Man comes, that's referring to his coming in judgment in AD 70, not the final coming when he comes back and reestablishes his kingdom and things like that. So he's coming in judgment. Now they don't know when, and he doesn't say when. But he's saying, whoever endures to the end will be saved. But prior to that, you're going to have families turning each other in to the authorities because it's going to be illegal to be a Christian, and you're going to be put to death to be a follower of Christ. So you're going to have brother betraying brother. You know, the authorities will knock on somebody's house, and they'll say, who's a Christian here? You know, and one guy will say, hey, my brother is. Go get him. It's going to be that bad, is what he's saying. And he said they're going to hate you because of me. He says no servant is above his master. So if they called me Satan, and we saw earlier they said he drives out demons by the prince of demons. So if they called me Satan, they're certainly going to call you Satan. But he says something, look, if they persecute you in one town, flee to another. Again, that goes back to what he said yesterday, you know, be shrewd as snakes and innocent as doves. You don't have to stand there and take it. If you have an option to get out of persecution, get out. There's plenty of other people to preach to. Now, there will be some that they preach to that will make it. And he says, he who endures to the end will be saved. There will be some Christians who are converted that don't give up, that hold on until that final judgment. But many, and matter of fact, most of them are going to be on the other side. And I'm going to tell you right now, even now, we live in a so-called Christian nation, but even now, and this is bold, I would say those that are really Christians, that put Jesus first, that strive with all their heart to obey him, and he's not just an add-on, he's not just something we do like, well, we're Clemson fans, and we go to our jobs, and we play with our kids, and we go to church and read the Bible. You know, it's an add-on. No, people who are consumed with Christ, that's what it means to be a Christian, that follow him, that want to learn more and imitate him, that's the small percentage in our country, I believe, even in our country. I might be wrong. Maybe that sounds judgmental. Just from observation, that seems to be the case. And I think, although we don't see much persecution now, it could happen in the future. So we need to have the attitude of these disciples, and if it comes, well, if it's bad enough, flee and go somewhere else. And we've seen religious groups in this country have to flee persecution, haven't we? We've seen it with the Mormons, and we see the Amish, they just have their own little community. They're exclusive up there. But we've seen it to some degree here, and certainly different races have seen persecution, and they've had to deal with it. So America's not immune from persecution, and you won't be either. And even in a smaller way, on your job or in your family, you may see it. Matter of fact, your family may be the ones that are hardest against you. and we'll see that later in the chapter. Anyway, persecution's real. It's going to come in some form or another, and just be ready for it. Come back tomorrow. We'll be talking more about that. There's a lot in this chapter on persecution on the next edition of Take 5.